feels like a toy.
What? Something very different. Like I remember you mentioned you're not a fan of Briquet, and this is original Napoleonic Briquet.
Yeah, I was looking for swords, like historical swords that I would consider to be kind of bad or like my least favorite or whatever it was. That wasn't actually on the list. That was just kind of a mention because I was just kind of musing on looking at it, looking at pictures. I would expect to not like it very much, but I don't know because I haven't handled one. So here we go, I guess. So I wasn't sure if I remember correctly when and how I mentioned the saber. Neither of us did. I double checked. It turns out the way I brought it up was by mentioning that this is one of the types of sword that soldiers in history had complaints about. So it wasn't actually my complaints.
What do you think of this one?
Okay, that's not what I expected. It feels like a toy. It just feels so light. This is nothing. Huh.
So less
That is
than
interesting.
a pound and a half. Right.
That is definitely not what I expected.
Talking more like a messer, a hair, a messer. And I think it could be that this used to be a saber, like an infantry saber blade, and then maybe it got damaged, and then they, like a Japanese sword, they surcharge it and they cut short, mount it on. It's possible, or is it like?
Could be also because the fuller goes all the way to the tip. Like from what I've seen, a lot of the time the fuller ends like pretty close to the center of percussion, and then you got more blade behind. So yeah, they could very well have broken.
Why is it so lively and lightweight? What do you think?
It's not even super thin, so it's interesting. Like the blade looks like it should weigh more.
Base is like 9 millimeters, so that's, I think lots of the modern makers again gets it wrong. Hey, beef up the base of your blade, make it thicker. It's always a good thing, rather than leave it 5 to 6 millimeters, make it 9 millimeters, and then it tapers like where the point of percussion.
That is quite some taper. That is very substantial.
This is also like battle worn because you can see all the edge damages. There's dozens of them.
Yeah.
It's definitely extensively used. And then the damage doesn't seem to be like doing tasks in the military, right? There seem to be edge parry damage. And it's interesting, it gets so thin near the foible. There's a like slight bend, even though it's spring steel. If you hit it hard enough times, it's gonna take a very slight set. But this handles beautifully, right?
This makes me think that the owner was very offensively minded because there's damage here, but there's nothing here.
Right.
Neither on the edge nor the flat. Like so
it's all getting buried. It was all burying too much.
Just didn't bother defending. You're just like no.
Yeah, I'm just trying to chop down. Yeah.
I'm just not going to give you time to attack me. I'm just going to lay into you the entire time.
Yeah. And with this, doing a flurry of attacks, it doesn't really consume much energy.
Right. Yeah, this is incredibly light and maneuverable. Right.
It's not a stereotypical like a messer. It can be very aggressive.
Yeah. This is a very different feel from a messer for sure.
And you see, that's using this is much better cutter, but often it's not the case. Like some of the more aggressive looking one, they don't cut as well. Let's just say against 90% of the targets. You only need to do enough damage. With that one, you probably wouldn't be able to cut someone in half as this one. It's like this, probably the broadest single-handed messer.
It handles different from what I expect. Like the handle is actually more comfortable than it looks. Not something I say too often, but this feels too light to me. Right. I would actually prefer a little more mass because with something really light, you might not. Like the opponent might have it really easy to parry you because there's just not that much mass behind it, and you might kind of struggle a little bit. Like with this, you probably have to parry pretty low for a static block as opposed to active. But even like an active displacement might also be a little tricky against a heavier blade. You might not be able to get it. It might just
blow through.
It might displace yours rather than the other way around.
But just for a cutting sword. maybe against someone who doesn't have a sword or only have like a dagger or axes, this is extremely dangerous because just how nimble it is, right? Yeah. So what was your experience before, like your impression of Briquet? Is it based on like a reproduction or some other people's characterization of their handling?
I just went by what I've heard or read other people say, and I said, looking at pictures, you can kind of make assumptions of what it's going to feel like, but that can also very well be off.
I think there's like a version of these. They're like the Napoleonic gladius. The swords were like a double-edged swords.
I was just going to say there's this artillery sword, a double-edged with a brass handle, that also just apparently isn't very popular with a lot of people, but I haven't handled it.
Cabbage chopper. I think they are called Briquet too. And they're just, it couldn't be more different. So this is when we characterize swords as like a broad category. Even Briquet is like a very narrow category. You think, oh, they all have the similar characteristics. They should all handle the same. They are for similar tasks, but they're not. Like some of these are extremely light or nimble. You can use it to fence, for sure, all the saber techniques. This is made by L.K. Chen. So late 19th century.
Yeah, this one I have not handled. Interesting.
Yeah.
That's quite a different approach. Like the grip, the way it curves, and then it's got this cutout for the finger. That feels quite good, actually. I do like that. And I wonder if that helps a little bit with the finger squeeze and
definitely.
Wrist cuts. It definitely feels kind of optimized for that. Also, like, it's very natural to put the thumb on the back.
Right.
And this is...
How do you think it will cut or thrust? Like just anticipation.
Yeah, I think like what I've... This is not my specialty, but from what I've seen, I think these are generally seen as more thrust-centric.
It was a great thruster because it's completely, the spine's completely straight, aligned with your grip.
Oh yeah.
So it's really easy with a pistol grip. It's a Prussian M1889. And I've cut with this one. Savage cutter.
Oh really?
You would have never, like this cuts better than some of the long swords. Yeah. Single hand.
Okay, that's...
effortless. It's not like you have to output a lot of energy to back it up. It's a savage. I think it's edge geometry.
Yeah, it's a hollow grind, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a pipe back, so it's a...
Oh, yeah. Interesting. Yeah, you could definitely generate velocity very easily with that, which of course matters quite a bit. Right. Like edge alignment is important when cutting, but velocity also matters a whole heck of a lot.
I cut some hard targets with it. I basically expected to fail those targets.
I would expect that too, yes.
But it cuts better. I think here's another topic that the edge geometry and apexing quality, in some cases, it will make the sword a little bit more durable. Because if most of your cuts are effortless, you don't struggle, and edge alignment is easy to index. You cut better, and then it bites into the target, it doesn't roll, it goes through it, or at least it cuts to a certain extent, and then you're able to draw it out. You know, they don't get too many chances to get stuck in a large target, and then you roll, and you bend it, or roll the edge. So definitely having better quality edge sometimes help with durability. You would think now it's more delicate, it's more refined. So there's bigger chance you're gonna mess it up, which is true sometimes, but not always. Having a dull sword or very, very obtuse or crude edge geometry, like it just get resisted so much, and often you're in the middle of a cut, you have to, because your hand has nowhere to go, the speed, and then they just get the blade got twisted so much.
I quite like how the guard is rolled up here. That just gives you a potential chance to trap the opponent's blade. I wouldn't expect that to happen too often, particularly like on the spine, but it could be useful.
A little bit like an S-guard on some of the European like long swords or medieval or Renaissance swords.
Yeah, interesting. That one I like quite a bit, actually.
Yeah, and also the quality of the reproduction matters a lot. Oh, yeah. This one by LK Chen.
That's where you have to generally pay a little bit more to get those details, because like anyone can just take like a blank, right. No distal taper, just put an edge on, done. Right. It's gonna be cheap. It's gonna handle awfully. So,
I think reproduction sabers got a bad rep.
Yeah,
and they even impact the general impression for sabers.
Yeah, I mean, I've had the same thing too. Like the reproduction sabers, like most of the ones that I've handled are just not good, and you just get a very bad impression. That's why LK Chen actually changed my mind on sabers to a large extent, because, yeah, when they're well made,
yep,
it's a whole different story. And when you go to a museum and actually look at the sabers, yeah, guess what? They have distal tapers, and
quite a lot on sabers.
Yeah, substantial ones.
Yeah, usually I think the distal taper observed on swords, it tells a lot about handling. Is that this one has maybe 80%, meaning that the tip is 80% less thick than the base. So, which is why it's so nimble. Yeah. Some of the, like I would say, long swords or even these greater swords of war, you can just even categorize them based on, people say, oh, this is a longsword, earliest longsword. It kind of is, but it's kind of not, because it doesn't involve so much technique, which is, I mean, you can try to use the techniques, but it wouldn't work so well because, guess the mass distribution just is that different. So if my calculation is, if the tip, near the tip, is about 25% of the mass as a base, it's more like a cutting-oriented, like greater swords of war. Whereas something extreme like the ring neck, there's always variations, but we're talking about, specimen, and then they share similar characteristics. This one is about 10% of the mass than the base, because it's 1/5 of the width, half of the thickness, so it's 10%. And then this is more like a stereotypical fencing longsword, or like a thrusting-oriented longsword for precision or rigidity. Whereas if you go back to lots of the cut and thrust swords, like this Viceroy, or some type 18B, 18C, it's about, the tip has about 20, or 15 to 20% of the mass. So it's just, in your hand, you can feel the intent of that without even looking at the profile. You can close your eyes and say, hey, this is more of a cut and thrust sword. There's enough precision, nimbleness.
There's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah.
That, people, of course, like if you haven't gone down the rabbit hole as much, then it seems much simpler than it is. You just think like, oh, it's just a long blade, whatever, right? But no, it is.
Yeah.
That you can have two swords that look kind of similar in terms of profile, more or less, but then they handle very differently. Right.
I think just going over the nuance of the sword is a natural progression for sword owners, sword nerds, enthusiasts, aficionados. As you go into it, gradually you're just going down the rabbit hole and want to know all about the history, the nuances, purposes of swords, and how good reproduction swords are. Because you want to experience it with usage. Yeah. You have to understand, how well made it is and how accurate it is. Otherwise, you're handling a crowbar, you're basing on that. But some are crowbars, like the Type 17 longsword.